View is live. Hang on for a day of hot topics. Betrayal? Did Beyonce's father leak a major spoiler by announcing the birth of her twins with Jay-Z before they did? What has the Bay Hive buzzing? Is he or isn't he?
You just said that he's being investigated.
No, Chris, I said that anything. Let me be crystal clear.
President Trump's lawyer confirms and denies Trump is under investigation in the same bizarre interview. Plus, the hottest summer beauty and bling on View Your Deal. The House of Hot Topics is in session with Whoopi, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, and Jedediah Bila. Now, let's get things started.
Just want to say it. It's Pride Month. Everybody just know that. Just know it's Pride Month. Get your pride on. So the current administration really needs to get themselves together. They do. And they got to get the story straight, because you know who tweeted that he is being investigated for firing James Comey. But yesterday, his lawyer, Jay Sekulow,
yeah,
seemed to confirm and deny it at the same time. Take a look.
And now he's being investigated by the Department of Justice. So he's being investigated for taking the action that the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General recommended him to take by the agency who recommended the termination.
You've now said that he is being investigated after saying that you didn't.
No. Let me be crystal clear so you completely understand. We have not received, nor are we aware of any investigation of the President of the United States.
Sir, you just said
Period.
2 times that he's being investigated.
If, in fact, it was correct that the President was being investigated, he would be investigating for taking action that an agency told him to take. So that is protected under the Constitution as his Article I power. That's all I said.
So he said he was only being hypothetical when he said he was being investigated. So,
meaning Trump, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know what he confused me.
Well, and Trump has a tweet that says, "I'm being investigated."
Yes. Yeah.
But the prosecutor isn't obligated to tell them if they're investigating him. They're allowed to, but they're not.
Well, they typically don't. A federal prosecutor is not going to tell you, hey, you're the target of the investigation until you have the evidence. Now, once you have your evidence, you do send a target letter, it's called a target letter, and you say, hello.
Or a Tarjay letter.
Or a Tarjay letter.
Make a little less mean.
Tarjay letter.
Yeah.
And it basically does say you are under investigation. But I think, you know, this lawyer, the way he posed all of this information is what gives lawyers a bad name, right? Because he's twisting, and lawyers are supposed to be wordsmiths. He very well said he's being investigated.
But I think that something's crazy going on there, because I know. I was reading that Trump is now yelling at the TV set. I mean, Kellyanne is talking to her microwave. This nut is yelling at the television set.
Sean's hiding in the bushes.
Sean is hiding in the bushes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something.
They always blame the media for spinning things. If you're watching poor Chris Wallace try to handle this, he's literally repeating back what happened. There's a point where he goes, oh boy, this is weird. You don't know whether there's an investigation. You just told us.
Yeah, there's
like,
an investigation.
Non-stop confusion through that whole interview.
The other thing is there's like an epidemic that happens to people. Jay Sekulow, I've known him for a long time. He's a smart guy, but much like Newt, I did not date him. But I used to work with him. I used to work at Fox. He was on all the time. This is someone who's been coherent and smart on issues. Something happens to these people when they go to defend Donald Trump that all of a sudden they make no sense. And I'm talking about
they don't know the truth. They won't speak the truth.
You know what? Like, okay, but it's still his face on the television. It's still his reputation. So when it happens, I've seen it happen to Newt Gingrich. I've seen it happen to famous TV hosts that all of a sudden are blabbering. And Chris Wallace is like, what?
Yeah.
What are you saying? So I think it's an epidemic. I'm gonna have to come up with a, maybe you can come up with a creative name for it.
The White House also announced that they are reversing the Obama administration's steps to normalize relations with Cuba. Because of their human rights violations. Forget about the fact that he has shaken the hands of some of the biggest despots out there. We won't point that out, because that would be wrong of me. And because of their ties to hostile nations like North Korea. But Cuban officials said, really? Because the U.S. is in no condition to lecture us about human rights, given the racial discrimination happening in America now. So what do you know... And, if it wasn't just him doing things, he's just doing things. It's not because he has any feeling about Cuba. He's just doing things. He said, oh, I'm going to be in Florida. I know what to say.
Well, the other thing about it is that he didn't really do that much. And he didn't undo what Obama did 100%.
Not totally.
But he did just enough to say to his base, you see, I undid what Obama did.
And
that seems to be where his... No, he didn't.
He did a lot. He's basically what he's... I support this 100%.
I looked at the list, and I was there last year. I was in Cuba last year. Nothing on this list has changed. There's still a United States embassy. You still have to go with a group, which I did. Everything is
but a lot of people would
same.
skirt that. A lot of people would skirt that. There was a person-to-person travel ability where people were skirting the fact that you weren't supposed to go there for tourism and were going. What was happening is American citizens were going over there and funding these established, thinking that they're promoting democracy and promoting ideas that are good for the Cuban people. And actually, all of that money, though, hold on one second, was going to the Cuban military. And that's what Trump is saying. He's saying these policies, what the Obama administration did, and I'm not saying they weren't well-intentioned, it did not help the Cuban people. Detentions of political prisoners have gone up.
The Cuban people have decisions to make. It's like the Irish and the English. At some point, you're going to have to say, we're either going to stay here in this spot, or we're going to have to move on. Now, I think it's always better to try to make the situation work for everybody. So the idea that you're coming in and saying, not you, that, one is coming in and saying, well, this isn't right and this isn't right. You're not saying, and here's what we can do to make it right. See, this is my biggest problem.
I think it's also selective. We just watched him in Saudi Arabia with a traditional sword dance and everything else, and they have an awful record on human rights.
Well, that's why
I'm not going to compare the United States to Cuba. We know that Cuba has had a lot of problems, but the point that they made about the problems that we are having here with racial discrimination, they also talked about police brutality. Remember, just on Friday, the officer that murdered Philando Castile was found not guilty. He shot that man in front of his fiancée and her 4-year-old daughter, and he had a license to carry and told the officer he was going to reach for his license to carry, that he was armed, and he shot him anyway. And so Cuba has somewhat of a point when they talk about
Cuba doesn't have
a lot of the
that.
problems that we have
Cuba's
here in the
harboring a convicted cop killer.
It is a point.
No,
Cuba does not have a point.
Isn't Guantanamo in Cuba?
We have police brutality here. We do have that problem.
That's fine. We have police brutality. We don't. This show. Let's try to take this show. You see the block we just did on Donald Trump? Let's try to take this show over to Cuba and let's criticize Raul Castro. That would not happen. You cannot do any of that there.
You can barely do it here.
We do it every day.
Let's talk about that.
We do it every day.
We're not there yet. But the bottom line is, go ahead, dear. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying he makes a lot of mistakes, but on this issue, he is setting conditions. He's saying, release your political prisoners, have free and fair elections, enable these private businesses in Cuba.
But why here and not in Egypt and China and all these other places where he said diplomacy would never be stopped by human rights issues?
How about he's in bed with the Russians, and the Russians have one of the largest histories.
That's fine. That's fine, and you can take him to task on those, but that doesn't make it any less valuable here what he's doing right now.
The bottom line about Cuba, and did you ever go to Cuba?
policy.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
I've been to
we're
Cuba
the
a
only
couple
ones who've
times.
been to Cuba. Cuba, the people are suffering to a large extent there. The food shortage, they have medical care, but, you know, a lot of doctors are fleeing if they can get out. The people of Cuba suffer more than the government. There's only this old guy, Raul Castro. He'll probably be gone soon. And there's got to be a big change in Cuba. And the United States has to deal with that.
That's
You
right.
can't-
You're
these
right.
people, so even if the military gets a few bucks from us or these people, what are they, a threat to the United States?
The military is a threat to those people in that country. The military takes your money and my money when we go there, and they use that to suppress people, to put political dissidents in jail.
What good was the embargo?
This
What was
has
the
not
benefit of the
worked.
embargo?
President Obama went and watched the baseball game.
Listen, you have not been
I
over there.
can tell
You don't know what's
I
working
can tell
over
you
there,
the
babe.
stats from
We'll be
human
right
rights
back.
organizations say it is not working.
Junior deal for this season's most sizzling beauty and bling for up to 70% off.
Hey, welcome back. You know, we wanted to say our thoughts and prayers once again are with everyone being affected by this latest attack in London. A car ran into Muslim worshippers near a mosque in what authorities are now calling yet another act of terror. So, you know, just,
Now it's going all over the place.
well, yeah.
Well, one thing that I noted was that the head of the mosque actually came out and protected the attacker and said, "No, wait for the police to come." People were trying to hit him, and he said, "No, let the law handle this."
Yeah.
And I thought, my goodness, to have that kind of
Yes.
grace.
Control and great. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's what we see, right? With all of these wild incidents where you see people saying, "I forgive you."
Yeah.
You know, and that's what, I guess that's the, you know, the bottom line of the Christian edict is that love. And
Well, you know, I ran into a nun last week.
with a car?
No. Nun's on the run. And she told me, she said she had to go to confession because she told the priest in confession, this is a nun, that she hates Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
The nun said it. And the priest said, you can't hate him. You can't hate him. You can intensely dislike. So she said, well, now I'm just praying that he'll be like St. Paul, who had an epiphany after he fell off a horse. Is that better?
Maybe that was an intervention for you to go to church too.
Yeah. Yeah, not But speaking of epiphanies, a Rhode Island teacher went viral for busting out a fan for his photo op in the Oval Office because he wanted to, quote, be visibly queer to celebrate who he was. He said the new guy had no issue with it either. So if he doesn't care, why hasn't he even acknowledged that it is Pride Month yet?
Because he doesn't care. Period.
He doesn't care one way or the other, but his policy cares, and his
Well,
policy
I
is
think because
anti-gay.
he's apathetic, I think the people around him influence him more. And like Mike Pence, for example, is someone that scares me with his policies on LGBTQ. And I think because Donald Trump doesn't worry about this, he just doesn't care. He's being influenced by everyone around him and not helping.
But to be fair, before he was president, he did speak out against the bathroom bill and said that Caitlyn Jenner could use whatever bathroom she wanted to use at Trump Tower.
Yeah,
So
he only meant her, though. He didn't mean everybody else.
I mean,
we all
that's
thought
what
he
I
meant
mean is
everybody.
I think he doesn't care as a human being. I don't think he cares.
I actually think it's beyond. I think he personally is supportive of LGBTQ rights. I think he's now a politician, though, and he's thinking about re-election, and he's thinking about his base, and he's not thinking in his head that he's thinking, well, I support this. Yeah, keep your fan. It's awesome. But he's not thinking that people are looking and saying, this is hypocritical, because if you're going to be supportive through your policy.
But he
and they
has
feel
to
abandoned
appeal to
in that
his
sense.
base. That's
But
all
they all
he
do
cares
it.
about. He's got this group of people, 35% of the Republican Party, who adore him, who no matter what he does, they love him. That's who he's talking to. He doesn't care about everybody else.
Are those
That's the
people
truth.
really not in favor of just basic human rights for people in the LGBTQ community?
I think a lot of
some of them
times,
support traditional
people are also afraid. You know, this is brand new for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, this is really something that people were not prepared for, and they were just wrapping their heads around gay marriage. And now we're talking about what happens in other folks, and people are like, wait, I'm just getting used to this. Hold on. And I think sometimes fear makes people act foolishly, because one-on-one, people meet people and they don't have an issue.
Right, but that's the point. I
But
doubt that
that's
they've
it.
actually met a transgender in the
think
middle of the country like that. Very rarely, I'm sure.
Or don't realize that they have.
I think also, though, politicians take a little bit of time. Sometimes, like, I firmly believe that President Obama was for LGBTQ rights before he came out and supported same-sex marriage, before he came out as an advocate. And I think a lot of it happens behind the scenes where he has to have those conversations. I would give him time. I think on this issue, I have a feeling that he will evolve. Politicians use that word all the time.
The problem
and be more
is
of an
it's
advocate.
politics and the reality of getting elected. And people have to see through that, though.
He has to lead in this area. I mean, in June 2015, after the Pulse shooting, he did come out and condemn that shooting. And I'd like to see more from this president, because we're talking about basic human rights.
He seems to be dealing with things that hit closer to home for him. We're not seeing things, we're not seeing him come out proactively on much unless it affects him. So, being that I don't see anyone in his inner circle that is gay, or, I don't think it's something that's on the top of his...
That we know of.
Well, that he knows of. But I just don't think it hits close enough to home for him to care and lead.
When you're the guy in that chair, you're supposed to be the guy in that chair for everyone.
Everyone.
And if you're not, and regardless of whether you believe in it or not, because I'm sure a lot of presidents have faced issues. Lincoln didn't want to free the slaves. But he didn't have a choice.
Those were leaders, though. Those were leaders.
Well, yeah.
And
so,
pioneers of different things. This is not someone that's shown us
When Jen says she's got some faith in him, I'm not going to rain in her parade. I'm going to say, okay, maybe, and you'll know I'm a natural blonde if it happens.
Yeah.
If he comes out and he's right.
It's also hard, though, because he has to balance all of those religious freedom-like rights and try to figure out how to balance. Just because he's supportive, remember, of LGBTQ rights doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be able to effectuate that in policy.
But here's the thing about religious folks. Religious folks always say, what would Jesus do? I think...
Not that nun I ran into.
No. I don't know why you just said that, because the nun dislikes him. She doesn't dislike Jesus. But I'm saying that, if you say, I'm for people's freedom...
I agree with you.
Then you have to accept that even though you may be a Jewish leader, you may be a Muslim leader, you may be a Catholic leader, you're leading a country that has everything. And so you have to look out for the people. And the people are the same ones that put you in and out. So they can't hide behind religion. Because,
I agree 100%.
Because Jesus says, listen, see my people. See my friends. What about you?
Just one thing, I read recently that a bunch of people that were on his AIDS council withdrew his HIV because they said he didn't care.
That's my point, people. He doesn't care.
That's right.
We need to see.
We'll be right back. We'll be back.
Still ahead, the F word. The actress taking heat for calling herself fat. Is this body shaming, or was she just owning it?
Welcome back. People are scratching their heads over the current administration's latest hire, Lynn Patton, who was the wedding planner for Eric Trump. And she will soon be the head of housing and urban development for New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's a linear ascension, of course.
Maybe she could find a banquet hall for these people to live in.
It's remarkable. I mean, and if you think about it, she has no experience in federal housing, and she's reporting to Ben Carson, who also has no experience in federal housing.
So I'm gonna give you a bit of advice that you should listen to, because it will actually help a lot of people. Because, we can't do anything with any of the federal housing in our country because it all has to come out of Washington.
Yes.
I would like y'all to think about two things. Put some air conditioning in these buildings so that our elderly who also live in these housing developments can be comfortable. And make sure that you get the lights that don't go out after 10 days.
Yes.
Because one of the problems is when you see, if you have a generator for air conditioning and things like that, the elevators keep running.
Yes.
So that people are not trapped.
Yeah.
People can, if you get the lights that don't blow out, people can come down the stairs without fear that there's someone down there. And
Yes.
if a light is out, they know something's wrong. See, these are practical things you can do. It's not going to cost you a lot of
You
money.
can only do them, Whoopi, if you know that there's a problem.
Well,
We know.
This is why I'm giving this to them, because perhaps they don't know. And having grown up in the projects, I know that a generator is everything, because when you see the floods that happen in the city and you see people can't come down out of these 22
And the elevators
floors
never
and
work in the
nothing
projects.
works.
The elevators never work.
So please just put generators in. And I can tell you that there are a lot of people who will give us these generators for not a whole lot of money. Because it's a nice way for them to be able to write stuff off, and it will actually help. Now, if y'all can do that, I'd appreciate it.
You have to care, though. You have to care.
One, you have to care. You have to care to listen. But what was interesting to me was, how do you just hire someone with absolutely no experience? In fact, if you look at her resume, she said that she had a law degree, and then on the resume it says N.A., and that is because she doesn't have a law degree. She only went and then she dropped out.
But she organized
why
golf
would you-
tournaments.
Yeah, she
so-
organized these golf tournaments, but
Yeah.
how ludicrous is it? Like,
Well, it's-
isn't he embarrassed?
He does it all the time, though. He does it. And the problem is not that these people aren't smart. Sometimes, like, Jared Kushner seems smart. The problem is he has no experience in that area that he's serving right now. Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. He's a smart guy, but he doesn't know anything about this. So it just
no
seems
one
like he
has
picked
experience.
all of his friends. Right?
Betsy
Betsy
DeVos.
DeVos knows nothing about education.
You know.
So it seems like he just picked his friends. And the thing is, he's not a politician, so it's really important that he surrounds
cronyism?
himself with the right
Maybe he
people.
should get a chiropractor to run his agriculture department.
Don't think he won't.
No one
Don't
is
think he won't.
qualified for anything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Shouldn't the supporters be uncomfortable with this?
They are. A
I
lot
think
of them
they are.
They are.
You think so?
Yes, I know so, because they say, who is this person and why does she have this? And they're frustrated because they're trying to defend some of the policy, and they have these
When you come in
people.
with no experience, you should make sure you surround yourself with people with a lot of experience.
A lot.
But
That's what
he's
you
like
do.
a dictator in that he only hires people he knows,
Well, he's
people
got
who are
trust
nice
issues.
to
He's a
him,
bit paranoid.
people who supported him. It's just like a dictator.
There's also that whole thing of, he's a maverick. Well, I think we've seen that being a maverick is not always the best thing.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't always work.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but
what
Matt
Paul Ryan said, he's new at this. He's learning on the job.
Yeah, but it's so
even
funny.
interns here know more than he
It's
does.
so funny. It was okay. It's okay for him to come in and learn on the job, but somehow Obama wasn't given the same respect. I don't know. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Pretty Little Liars actress Lucy Hale posted a Father's Day picture with her dad, along with comment, I was so fat, people, and I was so fat, she said. So people were calling her out, saying, first of all, she wasn't, and second of all, she's sending a bad message to people by calling herself fat.
She fat-shamed herself.
Yes.
Can you do that? Is that
Apparently
a thing?
so. People were so upset about
Well,
it.
you know what it's like? It's like, so there you are with somebody who's like, let's say they're like you, skinny.
Super tight.
She said that with disgust.
Skinny bitch.
Skinny.
She's a skinny bitch, this one. And so if you said to me, oh, I'm so fat, I would want to strangle you. That's what the point of this is. It's like, don't tell me you're fat when I'm fatter than you,
Yeah, but
okay?
the hard part is, like, that journey comes from the inside out. It's an insecurity of your own.
Right.
So the idea that that was something she saw, I agree, it doesn't send a great message, but that's probably that was something bothering her. Like, body image never is about what's actually in the mirror. You could look like her, and she could still not like herself.
The mistake I made as a parent was I never said my daughter was fat, ever. I would never say, oh, you look fat. Like, some parents are like that. But I would say, oh how fat am I? And she
They take it on.
She told me that was a bad thing I did.
You know, you can't use the
bad mother.
You can't use the F word. I mean, I have an aunt who has struggled with her weight her entire life, and in my family, like, we're kind of blunt, as you can see, and people would be like, "You look fat in that. Don't wear that. Are you going to the fat farm this summer?" I mean, we would actually say things like that, and she sat us. Yeah. She went to like a weight loss camp, and my mom was like, "That's a fat farm," and it's all this stuff, and she had this talk with us. And she said it is very hurtful to use that term, and I just struck it from
kind of the way that you guys were saying it. Yeah.
It's like
it has a little edge to it with the Austin edge.
It's very hurtful. You can't say
and saying it about your own body, isn't it? I mean, if there are things. I mean, I think she was just looking at a picture of. I don't think she was thinking like that. I think she was thinking
maybe
my
she
body.
Did like, maybe she did feel like that. And you know what? Everybody else fell out.
Right.
That's how she felt that day.
Well, I agree with that. It's like, what's it their business if she thinks she's fat?
And so I got other things for you. You can say the word.
I think it's like,
but in case you're uncomfortable with saying it, you can say, and I don't think these are great, but I'd rather hear fat
Tell
than
me
these.
Chubby's on the list.
Chubby.
Yes.
Portly.
What? Rotund.
Rotund.
Yeah.
Pudgy, chubby, beefy.
Just
I don't think those are bad.
a little big. Just you could say
Jolly.
She looks a little big.
What?
Yeah, you could say she looks.
You know, why say
hefty?
Listen, if it doesn't, why say anything at all?
Yeah,
why do you have to say
I don't think
anything at
you
all?
should comment on people's weight.
Well, okay,
wait a
then there
second.
you go.
I'm watching QVC one day, and they're selling the big clothing, you know? And the guy goes...
People
and the guy
that are larger?
Yeah, larger. And the guy goes...
Larger.
This is very generous.
Yes, good too.
I was like, don't be so generous, okay?
Most people are not the size of these models that we see on television. Most people are not Jet size. I mean, that's just...
Jed's an exception. Like, nobody looks like
That's
Jed.
because of the lunch that she eats.
But if you, whatever your issue is, everybody's insecure.
There's a lot
this
of
woman should be able to, if she's feeling chubby that day, if she feels that way about her own body, she should be able to say, I feel fat, I feel bloated.
She did it.
Her body. Let us say what she wants to say.
used
My brain feels fat right now. And I feel it will explode out of my ears if we don't go.
Okay.
So we'll be right back.
All right.
53 million follow her on Twitter. 100 million on Instagram. Seems like everybody's got something to say about
Kim Kardashian.
The Kardashians.
The Kardashians.
Now tomorrow, what does she want you to know? Find out when Kim Kardashian West hits The View tomorrow on ABC. She's reality royalty, a social media superstar, and part of one of the biggest power couples in showbiz. It's all on the table for Kim Kardashian West tomorrow.
Hey, welcome back. You know, when it comes to the male body, there's a survey by Planet Fitness that found out that 7 out of 10 women prefer a dad bod on their men. So by that logic, women would rather have their guy built like Seth Rogen than Channing Tatum.
Yes.
I say.
Then Channing?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think it depends. Is it The Rock or is it Chris Christie? These are the questions.
Yeah, that wasn't a good
I
comparison.
just like a little squish. I don't want it to look too good.
But my question is, do men want a little squish? Like, so women are kind of forgiving, I think, when it comes to the dad bod. We don't care as much, perhaps, but I wonder about women because
I'm sure
they
they're
say...
like us. They don't. I'm sure a man wants his body to look ridiculous, but...
Well, they say that most men want curvy women.
You know what?
Oh, yeah.
Does curvy mean...
I think they want
overweight?
I think they want women
No,
who
they
don't
want,
worry
they want boobs and butts.
24/7.
They
You
want,
know what?
like,
I think it's always worse the way you feel about yourself. Like, I never perceive that men are as fussy about the way a woman looks than the way the woman sees herself.
Yeah.
I really don't think so.
That's true.
I mean, mostly they have a sort of an image of you, a generalized image, you know. But a man with like childbearing hips, that's a turnoff.
It is?
Yeah.
well,
I
hips
like
are a
a
different
little-
thing.
I have to
squish.
say.
I like
I don't
squish,
like
but
a big bottom on a man.
You like
I don't.
squish?
I do like squish, but more because it means that he's not super
The guys
vain.
are like,
the guys
yeah.
are like, what is
How many of you men have childbearing hips? Clap. Okay, Brian, how about you?
Hips are rare on a man, though. Like big, like hips. But they usually have a little pudge here.
You don't want a guy that's like super vain. You don't want a guy. You want a guy that's going to go out to dinner with you and
you
eat.
wonder what their job is,
Yeah,
right?
like,
they're
I
not at work because they're in the gym.
I don't want them looking at the mirror more than I do.
Yeah.
What we read last week about how women are attracted to men who resemble their father.
Yeah.
No, I never heard that. I wasn't here for that.
Oh yeah, we talked about that on Friday. We talked about it on Friday.
There's a certain thing. I was always attracted to tall, skinny guys because that was my father. So I think that.
My dad's got a little squish.
Yeah. And I
Your
think
dad
it's
has
true.
twins?
Just a little
I think it's
squish.
true.
Yeah. I agree with you, though. I don't think guys notice, like, the things that bother me about my body, guys don't notice. That's us. We do that.
That's what I'm
Women
saying.
is hypercritical. Hypercritical.
What do you think, Whoopi?
Whoopi
I
said
don't.
yes.
She doesn't care. She's over it.
Anybody mad about Beyonce's dad sort of saying that, you know, they have the twins? Everybody's apparently up in arms about
He
it.
made the announcement. Grandparents are so excited. I don't know. I say you give it
get
to
a little. They get a little crazy.
I don't mind.
And sometimes, you know, it happens. It just is. It's premature speculation.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Beauty deals making you a hot topic this summer. We partnered with vendors for up to 70% off the beauty and bling you want to be in.
Since summer's the season to be out and about, we're making sure you turn heads wherever you're going. We partnered with vendors for up to 70% off this season's hottest beauty and bling, but only while supplies last. So let's get shopping with lifestyle expert Jackie Moran.
We're bringing all the best for summer, from beauty to bags to jewels. Oh my! Okay?
I already touched this and it's amazing.
I know. Okay, so let's start with makeup. Basically, your makeup kit update right here. This is Blend Smart. It's an all-in-one makeup brush kit set. Okay, so look at this. It's a rotating brush. It comes with the long-lasting lithium battery, and you can pop in 3 different heads. There's one for foundation, blush, and powder. These are premium antibacterial.
And they're super soft.
Super soft. So what it gives you is that airbrush finish every time. You won't walk out the door with that streaky foundation anymore.
Which happens. A little Bridget Jones moment.
Guilty, depending on how early it is. So normally this kit is $110, but today we are slashing that by 50%. It's $55. So great. So your makeup kit is set. I know, I've been making you smell me.
This is already amazing. I'm in.
I am obsessed. Wake up and smell the coconut, everybody, with Kopari Beauty. This is a breakthrough beauty brand. It is coconut-powered skincare.
It's a shimmer.
Okay, it is a body shimmer that I'm wearing. We have individual products. They are all multitaskers, all 100% organic coconut oil based.
Oh my gosh,
I'm wearing
it's
this
already-
glow. It smells like a coconut gardenia paradise. You could have that highlight day to night. We have a balm. We have a face oil, which is made for your face, natural. Don't be afraid to hydrate. It's
Coconut
so
oil
fragrant.
is a magical formula.
We know the celebs are all doing this. This is the ultimate multitasker. It's the coconut melt. It smells like
Let's
coconut.
tell them their
in
deal,
your mouth.
Jackie.
Okay, everybody. 32 to $118 for the whole kit. Whitney's getting excited. We're slashing it in half, everybody. $16 to $59 for coconut loving. Who's excited?
Oh, that's great. Next, the body shimmer.
Body shimmer, coconut products. Okay, now to hair removal, everybody. This is Illuminage Touch. This is the last hair removal system you'll ever have to buy because
Does it
has
hurt?
endless treatments, clinically proven to be pain-free. This is FDA-cleared technology. What's so great is it combines 2 technologies, intense pulse light and radio frequency. How does that sound, everybody? It works on all hair colors and skin
even
types.
blondes?
Yes, because that
Never
is a
works
big
on us.
thing with hair removal. So This is a good investment, right? Wouldn't you say, Whoopi?
Well,
give us our deal. $545 originally, but today we are going 60% off and free shipping.
You had me at free shipping.
I know. I always have you at free shipping. Okay, I love these quilted koala backpacks. Feel how light this is. This is light as air, and it's so beautiful. 100%, yeah, hey. 100% cotton, everybody. Quilted paisley patterns. Isn't this fun? I mean, the backpack always comes back for summer. Big zip compartments, side pockets, Whoopi's happy.
But how much is it?
So normally, this is $128. I don't know if you can handle this deal, everybody. 70% off. It's $38. That's a good one. That's a good bargain sale. Even if I didn't need it, I'd buy it for the deal. Okay, now, if you were to take, I've been shaking all backstage, I've been swinging, because if you were to take one trend with you for all of summer, it is the tassel trend. And so we have Daniela Swabe, fashion jewels, we have all the vibrant colors for summer, 2 size earrings, short and long, tassel bracelets. Don't be afraid to build an arm party. That's what you should do.
That's what that's called.
Yes, exactly, the arm party, everybody. And shake it all around. These are genuine leather.
Are they clipped? Oh, because not everybody's ears are pierced.
They're not, but they're very comfortable, I will say, and they're not heavy at all. And they have magnetic closures and slip-on bracelets, so very easy. Now, these are normally $36 to $62.
But today
we are going for a savings of more than 59%, $15 to $20, everybody. Look at this. How cute is this? This is Collage.com.
A random baby bag.
Customized tote bags and pouches. They look familiar, right? I think we know who this gorgeous baby is. Alec. And as you know, Sarah, every new baby photo is the best photo. So wouldn't you want to wear it on your arm? It's better than carrying a photo album. Grandparents love this.
They do.
It's the best personalized gift. Whoopi, you may remember this Oscars. This is my favorite moment when I went to the Oscars with my mom, Joy, for the movie Joy.
Oh, yes. Are you on that bag?
I am on that bag. Okay. So these are great. And now, these are normally $30 to $50 for a great customized gift. But today, we are going $11 to $18.
Good deal on a good bag.
63%.
And you don't have to get my son on it. You can get your own picture. A big thank you to Jackie Moran. The clock is ticking, people. You have 24 hours to grab any of these exclusive deals at viewyourdeal.com, and members of the audience are going home with a voucher to make their own photo bag from Collage.com.
So, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Everybody go home. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.